Taliban fighters to control Kabul's business district.
Where Taliban fighters
are in full control of the entire country after seizing the Panjshir Valley in the last area of armed resistance.
The Taliban have been in the news recently for regaining control of Afghanistan faster than Joe Biden can tie his shoelaces. It takes a lot of money to secure power. Just ask any successful US president how much they spent on their campaign trail. So how much money do the Taliban actually have? Well, according to a NATO report, in the fiscal year ending March 2021, the Taliban had brought in $1.6 billion. So how did the Taliban make their money? Well, their number one source of revenue is drugs. Afghan farmers cultivate poppies, the main ingredient in opium. This is refined into heroin in labs where it's taxed and exported. Heroin is one of the world's most addictive drugs, and Afghanistan accounts for at least 84% of the world's opium production. Like cannabis in Morocco or cocaine in Colombia, Afghanistan leads the way with its opium production that sees 8 million worldwide users and 2 million heroin addicts in the US alone. Worldwide, opium has an estimated annual export value of between $1 to $3 billion, and it's claimed over 120,000 Afghan farmers pay a 10% cultivation tax directly to the Taliban. US Commander General John Nicholson wrote in 2018 that the drug trade accounts for up to 60% of the Taliban's annual revenue, with estimates ranging from $100 million to $400 million per year. So what's the second biggest money spinner for the Taliban? Well, the answer is mining. Afghanistan has a huge untapped energy and mineral resource. In 2011, the US government estimated that there was at least $1 trillion in resources including gold, platinum, silver, copper, iron ore, lead and uranium. Other more recent estimates have this figure as high as $3 trillion. Keep in mind though that although currently opium brings in more money for the Taliban than mining, if you consider that the opium poppy production is between $100 million to $400 million a year, mining could soon become far more lucrative for them. Importantly, Afghanistan is sitting on top of one of the world's largest reserves of lithium. Lithium is used for battery technology and is needed for anything with batteries, from iPhones and laptops to TV remotes and electric cars. Their reserves of lithium are so vast that an internal memo from the US Department of Defense dated 2010 says that Afghanistan could one day be known as, quote, the Saudi Arabia of lithium. The Taliban is now also overseeing all mining in the country. They do this by threatening miners, pay up or face death threats. And this brings us to reason number 3 why the Taliban are rolling in it: extortion and taxes. $160 million come in from taxes on businesses in Afghanistan. There's a 2.5% wealth tax and a 10% tax on farmers' harvest. They've long had a stranglehold over all of the country's major trade routes and border crossings, so everything from fuel to construction materials gets taxed when it travels across areas that they control. What makes this especially ironic is that a lot of the development and infrastructure projects in the last 20 years have been funded by the West. It's estimated that America spent over $145 billion on reconstruction activities in Afghanistan in the time that they were patrolling the streets. So the US government has been unwittingly lining the pockets of the Taliban when they were trying to create a stable democracy. This leads us nicely to reason number 4 when answering how the Taliban make their money. Well, the clumsy answer? Other countries give it to them. Let me explain what I mean. So an estimated $200 million each year has come from, quote, charitable donations, which have been linked back to charities and private trusts in Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iran, Pakistan and Persian Gulf countries. This according to American counter-terrorism agencies. Don't forget, foreign investment from the US and the EU, who have been trying to create stability in a war-scarred Afghanistan, and the bigger picture of how war can actually earn you money really starts to emerge. As the old saying goes, to the victor the spoils. Every time the Taliban captured a military post or an urban centre since the US fled, they've seized weapons, treasure, armoured vehicles and cars. That in itself is also estimated to be worth billions of dollars.
The Taliban now has access to over $85 billion worth of American military equipment. That includes 75,000 vehicles, over 200 airplanes and helicopters, over 600,000 small arms and light weapons.
Moving on, reason number 5 why the Taliban are billionaires is because they own prime real estate. Many of their properties are said to be purchased using fake identities, so it'd be difficult to know quite how much revenue this generates for them, but according to a NATO report, it could be as high as $180 million a year. And their properties aren't limited just to Afghanistan, they're also said to have considerable holdings in Pakistan too. So the Taliban are rich, we get it, but can it stay that way? That's the billion-dollar question. Well, it very much seems like so long as they stand as gatekeepers of industry to the export of drugs and minerals, and the import of reconstruction materials to rebuild the cities devastated by war, their pockets stand to be lined either way. And speaking of pockets being lined, have you seen our video about the 5 richest and most powerful families in the world? These billionaire families control some of the most popular businesses and brands, influencing the lives of millions globally. But who are these people? How did they gain their wealth, and how do they ensure it remains within their family for generations to come? I'll leave that video on screen now for you to check out. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favour, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for lots more videos like this.